Boom. Hey guys, we'll be right back in about 30 seconds. We're going to have Sheena Starr. We're going to have 21st Century John L. Sullivan himself, Mr. Tom Shoaff. We're going to have Robert Morrows. We'll be right back. So stay tuned. Boom, here we are, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the show. It's Combat Insiders Live. I'm Joshua Furs. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. So thank you so much from whatever platform you are watching us on. Special shout out real quick to one of our sponsors, StreamYard. Check out StreamYard.com. They are the ones powering this whole operation, so check them out. I've got a referral link down in the bottom wherever you're watching. So welcome my guest. We got a special co-host over here. We got Mr. Tom Shoaff himself. We got Sheena Starr down there in the bottom corner over there. And we got Robert Morrow over here. Guys, welcome to the show.
What's happening?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, it's going pretty good. So we kind of do things a little bit different here. It's kind of like roundtable style. So a lot of the stuff is, I have some particular questions and some stuff is kind of like open table format. So feel free to jump in as needed, wanted, whatever. Okay. So there's not a whole lot of rules here.
I bring the shenanigans. All right. So anytime the silliness comes out, you're welcome.
Are you sure?
Positive. Don't you
worry. I mean, we've met, bro.
I know. It feels like a homecoming with the two of you on this show with me right now. I'm not gonna lie, a Midwest takeover, you know.
That's what I told. That's what I was telling Nick. I told Nick the same shit. I'm like, fuck.
Way to do it. Damn right.
Well, let's kind of jump right into it. Sheena, I kind of want to start off with you real quick. So obviously you won your bare knuckle debut back at BKFC 5. I got tongue twisted for a second versus Ivana Coleman by KO. Talk to us about that fight in particular and the experience of it.
I took it on like a week and a half notice. I didn't really know what fight to expect. You know, it was a new sport, new rules. You know, new everything, and you know, I just did what I did every other fight I have. Just kind of fucking winged it, you know, and I was just like, well, this shit's cool. You know, I mean, winning helps, of course, but you know, it was fucking awesome. It was different, you know, like the ring's like really different. You know, it's not like a boxing ring or an MMA. You know, it's quite a different platform to fight on. You know, because those ropes, they ain't ropes. Like, like you hit that, it's a fucking wall. You're stopping right now. It's like, oh shit, okay. Like it moves up and down, but it don't go back. And it's like, oh, right.
That's a fucking brick wall.
Yeah, it's a brick wall that moves up and down. I'm like, okay, all right. I mean, that's a little fucking weird. Okay.
Well, Sheena, dig into that just a little bit more. I mean, because like you said, you come from the MMA world. I mean, why the transition into bare knuckle? Like, what got you interested in bare knuckle?
I'm always like been a fan of like savage type competition, you know, like when I went and fought over in Japan, I was like super excited because you can like soccer kick fuckers in the face and shit there, and I think that's awesome. And you know, I'm not a good cuddler, so you know, I was super excited for it because it was all striking and it wasn't boxing, so it wasn't a pillow fight either. So I'm like, oh, this is a fucking fight, man. I should be pretty good at this. We'll see how this rolls, you know. And there wasn't really too much of a transition. It was just like, all right, I'm gonna do this now, I guess.
Rob, so you got your first bare knuckle fight coming up. How are you approaching it in terms of training preparation? Obviously, you're an MMA vet, but you know, in terms of bare knuckle specifically, what differences are you making to your program?
For training, we're working a lot more of head movement because I'm used to the Dutch style kickboxing where I'm walking straight forward, walking guys down, and style kind of Terminator-esque. You know, I'm just straight at you, stand there and stand and bang. But for the bare knuckle, I want to be protecting myself from stitches. I don't want to get a stoppage due to cuts. So working a lot of head movement and actually training bare knuckle, neck down, and just moving and getting a feel for things. We have the water bag at the gym, MMA stuff, so I've been using that a lot. And then I've been doing that, and I see Tom Shoaff doing it on one of his videos.
It makes a difference, man. You start hitting that water bag without wraps or gloves on, and you understand real quick what kind of situation you just got yourself into.
Yeah, it has that flesh feel and sound to it. Then it has more resistance because it's got that water pushing back.
Absolutely.
On that, but an MMA fighter, you know, I've got I feel I have the clinch game. Well, you know, I get in a bad position or something, I could work that clinch.
Right. 100%. I mean, how important is it? Because, like, you know, all you guys are, you know, kind of from the MMA world. I mean, how important is that clinch game in BKFC?
It's huge. Now, I'm sure that anybody who's seen any of my bare knuckle fights can attest. Obviously, I don't fucking use it, but it's huge, man. It's one of those things where, like Rob was saying, you get yourself in a bad position, you get yourself, you know, tangled up, or you mess up a technique or whatever the case may be. Unlike in boxing, where if you clinch, you can basically rest and catch your breath and then wait for the ref to come in and separate things. You could technically do that in bare knuckle too, but if you're not punching and your opponent's beating up the rib cage, it doesn't matter how long you hold on, the ref's going to let it go. So that clinch and that dirty boxing game, in my opinion, is huge for the bare knuckle game, and it's one of the major differences between the just traditional boxing traditional boxing and bare knuckle. I mean, outside of the fact that you're obviously not wearing gloves, that clinch game is just it's a whole nother aspect of the sport that the majority of traditional boxers don't train for. They just don't.
It's boring. Boring.
Sheena, so with your upcoming preparation with your fight, I guess maybe explain. A lot of people train for the individual that they're fighting against, and some people just kind of have this in general training routine. How do you prepare?
I just, of course, like I said, I do my hand conditioning. Maybe I may do my conditioning a little bit different. I'm a girl. I'm smaller. So I can't go too heavy on the hands. I don't really train for an individual person. Everybody, because again, it's bare knuckle. Everybody's going to be different in there. I mean, your boxer is going to box like they box. If they do, then it's not good. Same with your fighter too. I like the water bag too. I'm more of a fan of the bottom of the tie bag myself. Just with my hands and what I'm going for. My training camp's been a little bit different than these guys. I'm fighting an opponent that is, I would say, drastically shorter than I am. So, like Tom was mentioning earlier, the clinch game, very, important aspect, to the bare knuckle boxers. I've really been working on that and focusing on that more because I know, my opponent, I mean, unless she has a stepping stool, I mean, she's going to really start, trying to get to that clinch.
And go, got to get inside on you.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? So, just really trying to work with shorter people, but I'm pretty short myself, so I mean it's kind of hard. So I mean I just wing it. I just wing it when I get in there. I'm gonna do my thing. I don't watch videos of people, from like their MMA fights and shit, because that one fighter you watch in that video from 6 months ago is gonna be totally different, in like a bare knuckle match.
Right.
Because you can't go in a bare knuckle match and try to be a boxer. You'll bust your shit, You're gonna get your face blowed open, and you're not gonna be able to rely on blocking with the big surface area of gloves and everything. So a lot of like different little things have to change, in your bare knuckle camp. And I've been around, the company and this promotion and all these fighters for a year and a half now. So I mean, I pick their brains of people like Tom and Tony Lopez and Julian Lane, and I see what works for them, and I've fucking been ringside for all of it. I pick up these little things and I have implemented them into my own preparation. So
Sheena, I just want to let you know, in our YouTube chat and our Facebook chat, I'm kind of watching the wall as I'm listening to you, and you got people. I don't know, man. People have kind of come out. You got a couple people for you, a couple people against you, and I think the fans against you and for you are kind of arguing amongst each other. It's quite interesting.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't even watch that shit. I didn't think anybody was arguing over me because nobody none of my my bare knuckle fight isn't on YouTube. I'm the only girl fight that has been at bare knuckle that isn't on YouTube. My poster hasn't been shared by the company. It's like it's only been me and like a couple friends and shit. But what the basic fan won't know is like they'll go on Tapology and they'll look at a record and I look like a fucking complete tomato can. The state I live in didn't record report until 2016, and they'll just be like, oh, she has a crappy MMA record, so she's going to be a bad MMA fighter. Okay, all right, we'll see about that. Ain't no cuddling in this sport, ain't no hiding now, bitches. What are you going to do? So we'll see.
And this fight coming up, it's at super flyweight, right?
Yeah, it's in my actually. Yeah, that is in my own. That's in the weight class I belong in. Like that shit I took on last minute, and the weight class that they had before. Those are big chicks. Yeah. Plus, my opponent missed weight too. I didn't even see her till fight day. That was a mind fuck, but it's whatever.
Well, I mean that's pretty cool, right? Because you're kind of part of history because that's the first BKFC super flyweight bout, right? So I mean,
well, I've been trying to campaign for it. Yeah, for sure.
That's history number 2 for you, isn't it, Sheena? Aren't you also the only person to ever work the cut as a corner and then also fight on the same card?
Yeah.
Stitch told me that, man.
See, you're just breaking records all over the place.
I'm just doing cool shit, man. I don't know. Midwest bitches.
Rob, you kind of touched on it earlier, but you and your opponent, and I don't want to mess up his last name, Gustavo Trujillo. I'm trying to get that accent in there. I'm not doing it very well.
T-hole.
Yeah. So you guys are both making your bare knuckle debuts, but obviously you have the advantage in terms of like overall MMA experience. Okay, how do you plan on using that to your advantage in this fight?
Well, for my advantage, I feel that I'm gonna be more relaxed than my opponent. I'm 94 fights, so it's just only the names and faces change. I've done this. I've tucked that walk many times. Yeah, it's a different sport. It's bare knuckle, but in the end, it's still a fight sport. I've done this before. Just got to go in there, be calm, and do what
I like how me and Tom are smoking.
Sorry, Rob. Anyway, you were staying calm.
Calm. I see you guys. Yeah, just let cage, or in the ring, the squared circle. Go out, have fun, leave a mark. I'm the destroyer for a reason, and that's what I'm coming in to showcase.
Hell yeah.
Awesome, brother. And Tom, actually, you know what? Sorry, Tom. Before I get to you, Sheena, what does your shirt say, man? What does your shirt say?
Oh,
I'm trying to.
Team, fuck you.
Okay.
Is that Molly Polk? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Went to Caddy College. Yeah. She's fighting for Bellator this weekend, I think.
Awesome.
Tom,
sorry about that. Tom, what do you got coming up, man? What's going on with you, brother?
Man, things have been kind of chaotic for me. I thought I was going to be on that Tampa card. Things got pushed back. I tried to get an MMA fight locally here that I thought I had, like legitimately thought it was in the bag. Things fell through, didn't work out. These things happen. So now I'm just kind of just sitting back and relaxing, man. I've been throwing my gi on, been playing in my pajamas a lot. Haven't really been doing any striking at all, to be honest with you. I just don't want to get burnt out on it. That's the biggest thing is I don't want to. I spent the last year and a half essentially doing this bare knuckle thing, and I was starting to get a little fatigued from it. A little battle fatigue, we'll call it. So I took the gloves off, started playing in the pajamas, and that's really it, man. I'm hoping to be on the November card down in Biloxi, but I don't have any confirmation on that. I cannot confirm. So what's going on with me is just a whole lot of relaxing and healing and getting better as a whole with the entirety of my martial arts.
Awesome, brother. Well, I'll tell you what, man. We'll look forward to it. I hope you get that spot, man.
You and me both, dude.
Sheena, I don't know what you're causing over here, but you got people people are really cursing at each other. They're talking about so and so's getting slept, she's getting slept. I mean, these people are pissed off. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what you've done to these people, but they are upset at you. I just want to let you know that.
I love it.
Good. Perfect. We need more people talking about us.
Here's the thing. Well, the people that know me, all right? Okay, like I've had like MMA fights as a total. I've had like 44. Okay, I've only been finished on the feet one time. I've only been dropped one time. All right, I've been taken down a bunch and cuddle fucked and all that other shit. But like, I can fucking fight. So they can argue with each other all they want. But the ones that are saying, "Oh, that girl's gonna get slept," hell yeah. Okay, I got a go gadget, fucking almost a 12-inch reach on my opponent. What the fuck you think's gonna happen?
I like that.
Interesting, guys. We're gonna get their thoughts on the co-main and the main event of BKFC 8 in about 30 seconds. We'll be right back.
Brad Bishop with And Still Nutrition, and shout out to the Combat Insiders for allowing us the opportunity to introduce ourselves. We're a supplement company geared towards combat sports. We're designed with the fight in mind, so don't cut weight without us.
All right, welcome back after that very, very often commented quick break. Frank, I see you in the chat, man, asking about the merch. We're not sure. We're gonna get. I mean, maybe hopefully sooner than later. We're kind of working on a few things, so hopefully we'll have some of our own cool swag soon. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know.
I still need my fucking t-shirt. Let me get my drink out of the way.
Hey,
Still need
brother,
my
don't
damn
worry. Don't worry. It's coming. It's coming.
All right,
Guys,
don't
let's-
send it through the mail though. Hold on. I need to cut everybody off here. Don't send it USPS. It does not show up to my house. All right. You can ask anybody. You send that shit through the regular mail, the fucking mail lady's gonna jack it. Don't do it. UPS only.
Hey, I told you what I was sending to your house, right?
I'm telling you, they're gonna take it. They're gonna fucking take it.
All right. Guys, real quick, and this is kind of open format here. So whoever kind of wants to go in first, I kind of want to talk about everybody's thoughts on Jim Ehlers versus Julian Lane. Who do you think has the advantage? Who you think is going to win? And I guess even if you don't want to make picks, because I know some people, don't want to put that out there. But who do you think? What are the keys? I think to victory here for both of them.
Was it confirmed at 155?
I'll be honest with you. That's a damn good question, Tom.
That's an important thing.
I know it's not. I know it's not. I believe it is. I'm almost certain it is because I think
I'm pretty positive Julian said something about having to cut 30 pounds.
Yeah. So it has to be. It has to be then.
Well,
yeah,
Eddie.
it has to be.
That makes it a very different fight. Well, fuck it. I'll kick it off. Julian, if it's for sure at 155, that's going to be up to Jim to push the pace, man. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Julian's cutting a lot of weight. He's gonna stress himself out. He's gonna tire himself out pulling that weight off. Especially if he doesn't do it properly. Now I've seen pictures of him on Facebook, Instagram, things like that. He already looks pretty skinny. It looks like he's pulling the weight off well. But you never know until the day of weigh-ins. You could get down to that 160 mark, and then those last 4 pounds, if you don't have it, are very difficult to pull off. So I think that fight's going to come down to whether or not Jim comes out like he normally does and, just like a bat out of hell, fires right from the gate and keeps that pressure through all 10 minutes. If he can do that, which I believe he can, I'm pretty sure he's going to gas Julian out. But again, we talked about this before. Julian has he's got this fire inside of him over this last couple of months that seems indomitable. Talking to him a little bit after our fight and, just some of the words through the grapevine, so to speak. He's found a new fire. He's found a new gear, we'll call it. So it'll be really interesting to see if maybe with this extra weight coming off of him, he's a little more towards his natural weight. He might be a little faster, may even be a little stronger. I think the biggest key to victory for Jim's going to be that pressure. For Julian's going to be maintaining, man. It's going to be he's going to have to weather that early storm. He's going to have to not push the pace so early and then hopefully, rally in the later rounds. But again, I think that's all due to the weight cut. I think if this fight was at 165 pounds, it would be a completely different. Even if it was at 160 pounds, it'd be a completely different fight. So it's going to be you're going to see two true veterans and two true professionals really doing their best to play their best game plan, because it's a difficult fight for both guys, plain and simple. There's Jim is technically going to be the smaller guy. Julian's technically going to be the slower guy, but the heavier hitter. It's going to be a tough fight regardless. But that would be what I would say the keys to victory would be, is Jim coming forward, maintaining that forward pressure and gassing Julian out. Julian's going to have to weather that storm. He's going to have to dig deep, and he's going to have to he's going to have to fight all 5 rounds, plain and simple. Unless he knocks Jim out, which would be very difficult to do, he's going to have to fight all 5 rounds.
I'm going to have to agree with Shoaff on his complete statement. All of it, 100%. He nailed it. I can't. took the words from my mouth. Basically, actually put them better. A good question at what weight that fight is at, because that's going to be the decisive answer to what could happen. And then his points on what Allers needs to do and everything, that's dead on. Both men, both are warriors getting in there. And I just expect a great fight. That's why it's co-main event, So,
Right.
yeah.
I think we're gonna see two honey badgers at a rage inside that cage as soon as they call Knuckles up, man. I tell you what, Allers, like Tom touched base on it, super aggressive, sets the pace off super quick and early. Julian's gonna be ready for that. So, whether he's just gonna try to weather the storm or if he's going to take that fight head on. And I mean, basically, it's like the first person that's going to make a mistake. Julian's going to probably hit a little bit harder, but man, I mean, the aggression and just pure savagery that we've seen from Jim Allers in his past two fights, taking on very tough opponents. The most recent Andre Garcia, on short notice is we can only expect that's going to be the Jim Allers that's, going to come out in Tampa. Who do I see winning? I don't know. It's really the first one to make a mistake, for the most part. I mean, I know Julian will swing to the fences until he's getting ready to pass out, man. If he, like Tom said, if that weight cut's affected him at all. I know he's also been training high altitude. He's out there in Colorado and shit, doing it up like a big boy. So, I think his cardio's not going to be that bad. I mean, regardless, the weight cut does suck. And, we're not spring chickens anymore. But that's my thoughts. The first one that really makes a mistake and just really gets caught with that one, like, oh, shit, punch. I mean, it's done. So, I mean, we could see that either way. That's why it's a good fight.
I think you guys are spot on. And Nick, shout out to Nick Portelli. He says hi, by the way.
Hey, Nick.
He put out a good article on check out combatinsiders.com. He just put out a good article on there about the key points. And I think the one thing that me and him have really both been talking about, and what you all have already touched on, right, is we all know what Jim Allers is going to do. Like, that's no surprise. Like, we know what he's going to do. He's done it 2 fights already. He's going to come in and look for the kill early and take your head off. Like, we know it, right? The difference here is I think the key difference is, A, can Julian Lane either establish some hard shots of his own, and possibly, I mean, that would be a flip the script, right? He could establish hard shots of his own and take out Jim Allers. We don't know. We haven't seen Jim Allers put in any kind of adversity yet in bare knuckle. We haven't seen it. So for me, the keys are, if Julian Lane goes in there and can withstand the early storm, that early pressure, and maybe even make it through the second, third rounds and establish some pressure of his own, can Jim Allers come through some kind of adversity? I don't know. It's an interesting fight, and I tell you what, I know it's kind of a PC answer, like the I don't know thing, but I really don't know. It's interesting.
I think that's what makes the fight so fascinating. Besides the fact that styles make fights, and you have two guys who want to come forward, who want to fight each other, want to put hands on, and there's a little bad blood. There's a little bit of that Facebook feud going on, and it's. I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for saying this, being a white guy, but it's almost like they're having a competition on who's the darker complected brother of the two. Like, I'm not kidding. That was like a legitimate argument. Like, Allers was like, bro, you can't say the N-word. You're not black. And then Julian's like, yo, look at this picture of me and my dad. Like, how can you say that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was, I don't know. It was just weird. But anyway, there's some bad blood there. And
who's got more pigment?
Yeah, precisely. But so there's already some bad blood there. There's already some animosity there. It's going to be interesting. Plain and simple. That's what's making this fight, is there's bad blood. The weight class is dressed. I mean, Julian's fought at 55, but Allers also used to fight at 45, if I recall correctly. So it's like there's some variable there. It's a clash of styles, and it's going to be really interesting. The only, and I'm going to say this as I'm gonna prelude this by saying that maybe it doesn't matter. Moral of the story is I've been hit by Julian. I've never been hit by Jim Allers. I can't state how hard Jim hits. I've seen the results, so I can only assume that he hits pretty hard, but I've been hit by Julian. I know that feeling. If he can land some of the shots that he landed on me and keep his cardio and not fade in those later rounds, like you were saying, it could very well be Julian's night. That's why this is so exciting, because any way that you look at it, this fight could be ended like that. So it's going to be fun.
Well, I mean, just to add to that just a little bit more, and we'll move on to the next topic. But I mean, what about the weight cut? I mean, can Julian safely and get down to that weight?
Yeah.
And is it going to make a big difference in his power?
I think that it will. I can tell you from firsthand experience, when I fight at 170 compared to when I fight at 155, even when I fight at 155, like my power and my speed in training camp are completely different than the night of the fight. After I strip that extra 10 pounds off and I get down to like my natural as I can be as far as my body weight's concerned, I don't hit as hard as I do in training camp. I don't have the weight in my hips. I don't have the stability, any of it. But my speed is better. I'm faster. I'm sharper. I've got more angles. So I think for Julian, I think Julian's just so big. That's the thing. It's like he's even at 170, he's big. So for him to get down to 155. If he does it right, if he does it naturally, if he pulls the weight off over the 6-week training camp that he's been doing, he should have no issue coming into this fight and performing well. But again, it comes down to how well he cuts that weight, how well he pulls that weight. 15 pounds is a big difference. It's a drastic difference, especially in a combat sport. So I really think it's just going to depend on how well he pulls it off. If he walks in the day of weigh-ins at 160 pounds and only has to pull off 4 or 5 pounds, great. If he walks in the day of weigh-ins and he's got to pull 10 or 12, fight night's going to be a long fucking night or a short night, depending on how you want to look at it.
Right. But Sheena, from the angle, it looks like you were drinking out of a horse trough. What the hell was that?
Horse trough?
from the angle.
This is your tall tale sign.
I think like from the angle of the
that somebody is cutting weight. What we do is we just walk around with a gallon of fucking water, right? And we drink about 2 of these bitches a day. And put little lines on there so I can keep track, and then I put the time on there when I opened it so I can fucking keep track of my electrolytes and my water loading, because that's how I cut weight, because I don't got the muscle mass. Yeah. Well, I don't got the muscle mass the rest of these assholes do, so I have to cut my weight differently. So I water manipulate, and it's fucking sucks, but it's how I do it, and it's how I do it safely.
Understood. Let's kind of move on to the main event. What do you guys think? So we got 2 UFC vets and Bigfoot Silva, Gabriel Gonzaga, both kind of making their bare knuckle debuts. It's an interesting fight, right? What do you guys think about it?
I think Antonio Bigfoot Silva has a really big head and a glass chin, and is a little bit slower. And, I really think about. I mean, I see like a round 2 finish, man. I mean, really with that, no disrespect to Antonio Silva, man. He's a legend. He's fucking, UFC awesome dude. Granted, we don't have USADA for this fight, so I mean, we could see a different Antonio Silva coming in, but I mean, just judging off, the past and, just watching his performance in the past. I mean, once you get knocked out, you're easier to, consecutively like that. and especially with his condition, you're going to be able to get knocked out a lot easier. You know what I mean? And it's really just going to take that one shot. You know, it's your target is about, you know, the size of a Thanksgiving turkey, so it's not really going to be that hard to hit. That's how I see that going. You know.
Rob, what say you, sir?
Well, I know Antonio Silva. If he's coming in heavy, it depends on the weight too. I mean, if he's coming in big, he's gonna but he's gonna have that power. But then Gabriel Gonzaga's, he's always shocked me with his skill level, and how, I mean, he's a big guy too, and how fast he moves for being big. So that makes that an interesting matchup. But I give the edge to Gonzaga due to Silva being a little slower from his size and everything like that compared to Gonzaga. So I'm giving Gonzaga.
All right, we got 2 Gonzagas.
You already know how I feel about this one, man. I love Antonio Silva. I love Gabriel Gonzaga, but they're both fucking grapplers.
Right.
like I love them to death. They're monsters. They've had fantastic careers. I will never. I mean, they're more accomplished than I am. I can't dispute that in any way, shape, or form. They're both grapplers. They're both known for their grappling. All of that said, again, we talked about this before. I got Gonzaga round 2 KO or TKO. He's Antonio's long, but he's slow. And when your reach is that long and people can see it coming from a mile away, especially somebody who wants to be inside, they're going to dip, they're going to move, and they're going to come over the top and hit you with heavy stuff. Gonzaga's done that. He's done it to multiple people. The only person I've ever seen Antonio Silva knock out was Overeem, and that was after Overeem was off steroids for 2 fucking years, you know? And that was 13 minutes into a fight. 1, this fight's 10 minutes. 2, Overeem is not Gonzaga. And I guess you should probably say that the other way around. Gonzaga is not Overeem. But I just don't see Antonio. Here's the best way I can describe this. I don't see Antonio Silva being able to use his range the way he's supposed to keep Gabriel off of him. And when you're the shorter fighter, or when you're the taller fighter trying to get strikes on a shorter fighter, it's very difficult. Once that fighter's inside, it's very easy for them to beat you up and eat you up because you can't get the leverage on the shots that you need. I don't see Silva being able to utilize his reach properly. And I think once Gonzaga gets inside, he's going to eat him up. So we got 3 for Gonzaga.
You know what? I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna go the other way. I'm gonna be the odd man out. Only I tell you what, and my only sheer is the fact that Bigfoot's fist is the size of fucking Gonzaga's head. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with Bigfoot, just on no other principles other than that alone. So I'm gonna rest my laurels on the size of his fucking hands.
That's fair.
Guys, we're going to take another quick little, I know you guys love my breaks. We're going to take a quick little 30-second break, and we'll be right back. I kind of want to touch up on, get your thoughts on the big UFC fight this weekend, Robert Whittaker versus Israel Adesanya, if you don't mind. We'll be right back in 30 seconds. All right, guys, welcome back. Please don't forget to check out the new and improved CombatInsiders.com. We put a lot of love into it. It's the home of the Knucklepedia. It's the only fighter directory really geared toward the sport of bare knuckle. You won't see any other MMA records on there. It's just strictly bare knuckle. So please go over there, check it out. use the search option and search for your favorite fighter and just have a good time with it. It's pretty in depth. It's going to keep growing and growing and growing as the time goes on and more information is coming in because there's a lot of bare knuckle stuff that may or may not be questionable. So it's a matter of like filtering through a lot of different records. But go check it out, combatinsiders.com. Guys, I'd like to get your thoughts. Big UFC show this weekend. Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker. They're going to unify the middleweight championship. Let's just boom. Whoever wants to go first, I kind of like to get your thoughts on it. And who do you got?
I got no clue because I am probably the worst fighter of all time in the sense that I don't follow fight sports. Okay. I just don't. I attend local shows. I focus on my own career, and I kind of go from there. I'm not competing with those guys, so I tend to not focus on them. That being said, I have seen both of them fight before, and I don't know. That's going to be tricky. That might come down to a grappling competition, to be honest with you. That might be who the better. That might be because I don't see Whittaker. It is Whittaker, right? It's Whittaker versus Adesanya.
That's correct.
Yeah, I don't see Whittaker being able to deal with that reach, that range, that unorthodox striking. The style bending, we'll call it. I don't think he's going to be able to compete with that. I think it might come down to a grappling competition. So if I had to put my 2 cents into it, I would say that I think if Whittaker wants to stand a legitimate chance of winning that fight, he might have to get his hands on him and at bare minimum make it a clinch war. Get him up against the cage, beat him up, slow him down, and then potentially work him to the ground. But that extreme variance in striking style that Adesanya brings to the table is going to be very difficult for somebody like Whittaker to.
That's what Kelvin Gastelum tried to do. He tried to get in and stay close and try to eliminate Stylebender's reach. That's kind of what his plan was. He tried to clinch with him and get in close and do some dirty boxing.
Mm-hmm.
It worked, okay for a few rounds, but I think it's just Adesanya. His striking pedigree is so much deeper, I think, than Gastelum's. And I think ultimately that's what kind of got him the W in that fight.
For sure.
That's tough, man. Before I give my official thoughts, I kind of want to hear the rest of y'all's. Whoever, Rob, Sheena.
Talking to bare knuckle fighters.
UFC. Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker this weekend.
Yeah, I was saying you're talking. We're concentrating on ourselves and our upcoming fights. I haven't watched in forever. All my goals are gone. All the guys that I looked up to, from Chuck Liddell to Vanderlei, I don't see these guys, so it's all the guys I looked up to, they're gone. So I just concentrate on myself, trying to get to that next level. I haven't seen an Adesanya fight or a Whittaker, so I couldn't tell you. So I'm right there with.
Welcome to the Midwest, motherfuckers.
Fair enough.
When we fucking scrap, we don't watch people do that shit on TV. We're here to fucking get down.
I'm cracking up so bad because I wanted to wait until last because I'm like, I don't know who they are and I don't really watch the UFC. Unless one of my friends are fighting, I ain't watching. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Josh, you remember when we talked about this before a couple of weeks ago? And I was like, you're going to learn real quick. You come to the Midwest, fuck everybody. All right? Plain and simple. Fuck everybody.
Oh,
you don't care.
You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Guys, real quick, I guess. So what? Let's just scrap that. We're just gonna scrap that whole bit. We're scrapping that segment. Real quick. We gotta get this together. Guys, real quick. I guess Robert and Sheena, any shout outs real quick before we kind of in the shindig? Any shout outs to sponsors or anything like that?
Oh god, V2 Media Fight Series are pretty awesome fight. Stop it, puppy! I got the puppy trying to bite my nose. B2 Digital. They're been pretty awesome to me. Winston's Wishes. It's a animal charity here that I'm giving proceeds to my next mystery fight shirt that I'm fighting in. I'm gonna auction that off and give it to those guys. They help support dog fighting, and getting people prosecuted for it, and teaching law enforcement how to deal with approaching a home and having pit bulls inside in there so they don't open fire and shoot them and stuff. So that's pretty cool. Bearding for Autism Awareness. Just a local autism center, supports children that also have autism, day activities, stuff like that, anything kind of like a school setting. So shout out to all those guys. Appreciate them. Thank you, Combat Insiders, for always staying on top of all of the media, not only with MMA, boxing, all combat sports, but bare knuckle in particular. Your guys' Knucklepedia is pretty awesome. If anybody doesn't know what Knucklepedia is, go on combatinsiders.com, check it out. You look at Tapology, you look at Sure Dog. All right, well, now there's something just for bare knuckle fighters right on there. It's kind of like the tail of the tape, but with only one person, you know what I mean? Like all your stats, your favorite people, man, you know what I mean? So go in there and check that stuff out, and we're friends with Combat Insiders, so I mean they're putting out stuff before it hits other media sites. So get your news first from there, and you'll never be left out.
Appreciate you, Mr. Morrow. What kind of shout outs you got for us?
Well, first, Combat Insiders, thanks for having me on. Much appreciated. Get some recognition and everything, and hope you guys too. Hopefully get draw in some views. As far as sponsors and everything goes, I'm gonna say I got El Nacimiento Tequila, Click Nutrition, CEO Nutrition, Sizzles in Lockport, MMA Stop, Mobbed Up Inc., and then Shoaff, if you remember Bill Hill, him with Think Fit Apparel. Just hope that's everything. Laborers, Local 68, represent the union, work construction, so got to represent my brothers out there. And then, of course, my family, my wife and my 5 kids support me along these 16 years of doing this sport. Gotta thank them. So say hi, Kathy.
Hi.
But yeah, pretty sure that nailed it. And then thanks to everybody over at Bare Knuckle for getting me back on the show for this upcoming fight. Went through 4 different opponents and finally got this one. This is my 4th opponent for this show, so can't wait.
100%. Well, we're pumped for the card, man. I can't believe I remember covering BKFC 1, and I can't believe we're already at 8, and it was already 9 is already in the works too. I just can't believe how good the sport is doing. Not in a bad way, but I'm happy to see how great the sport is doing. Just in span of a little over a year. I'm really pumped for you guys. Guys, check out Rob Morrow is going to be facing Gustavo Trujillo. God, I hope that's right, at BKFC 8. And then we got Sheena Starr. Can't wait for her. She'll be facing Delaney Owen. And we're so pumped for that. And guys, thank once again to Mr. 21st Century John L. Sullivan, Mr. Tom Shoaff.
I have
appreciate
a quick
him some. Go ahead,
Thank you.
brother.
I appreciate you. You're fucking handsome as shit. If y'all want to support good old fashioned Tom Shoaff here, and you want to help a brother out, all right, help me help you. My favorite thing in the world to do is put on exciting fucking fights. All right. Yep. And if you don't believe me, you can go on YouTube right now because Bare Knuckle just posted my rematch with Diego Garijo. All right. So go on there and check out this rematch. See how exciting that this Tom Shoaff character is. And then go on to the Bare Knuckle page, go on to the Combat Insiders page, go on every social media account that you have and reach out to Mr. David Feldman and everybody else at BKFC and let them know that you want to see me back in that squared circle doing what I do best. And that's putting on a show for you guys.
100%.
I was at a AFC when you were a swing fight. You fought while people were leaving, and your fight was the fight of the night. You know, like, wow, that was fight of the night, and it was as people were leaving. You know, I was depressed just because of. Like, dude, like, hey, are you guys watching this? Like, this guy's going to war. Like,
well, thank you. I appreciate that, Rob. I'm glad that, you know, I'm not the only person who thinks so highly of me.
I do. Tom's fucking awesome,
right. Well,
man.
not everybody in this
We
group
all
thinks
do,
really
Tom.
highly of me.
We all love you, Tom.
Let's spread it around the world. Let's tell the whole world that Tom's fucking exciting. Yeah. And we want to get we're Midwest Takeover, guys. Come on. Let's get in there. Let's start fucking people up. That's what we're here to do.
Dude, me and Tom used to fight on Ami cards back in the day at like fucking Hoosier Fight.
Yeah.
Let's
take over the goddamn world. All right, that's my announcement. Anyway, thank you, Rob, for sticking up for me, brother. I appreciate that.
100%. Yeah, guys, go check out their social media. Rob Morrow, Sheena Starr, and Mr. Tom Shoaff himself. Go show them some love. Facebook or Instagram. I don't know what you guys use, but I'm sure you guys are all over the place. Go check them out. Give them a follow, like. If you like this show, please give us a subscribe, give us a like, share. You know what to do, all that stuff. We appreciate it so much. Thank you to our guests. We appreciate the time so much. It was our absolute pleasure. Good luck to you guys, respectively, in your fights coming up. And that's all we got. I'm Joshua Furs. You're watching Combat Insiders, and we're out.
Peace.